just took a DNA test. Turns out I'm 100% that bitch. Even when I'm crying crazy, yeah, I got boy problems. That's the human in me.
Welcome to my YouTube, my tribe. Hi, it's your girl Alexis, and welcome to Planet Neptune. So, in today's video, my non-existing relationship with my father. I smile about it now because, 3 years ago, I was living with him before the pandemic hit. Pretty much, I know that it's other girls out there, other women out there in the world that don't have an existing relationship with your father. And I just want to let you know that we are in this together, girls, ladies, women, and you are not alone. You are not going through this alone. There are so many other people out there without their fathers, not just women. I want to talk about it because I just feel like, we need to have more constant conversations about this. I definitely have forgiven him, but I have definitely closed the door on working on anything because of just the in and out, in and out, in and out, in and out. Talk about, when I was a little girl, when I was a preteen, teenager, and an adult now, how my relationship was with my father, because I want you guys to see, how it was, because it's crazy. I still can't even wrap my head around or even tell anybody as to why my father don't talk to me. Little girl Alexis. I was mainly around my grandparents a lot, which is his parents, because I call my grandparents on my father's side my granny and grandpa. I don't mean to stop so suddenly, but if you hear noise in the background, it's just the other people that I live with playing music. You can't really make out the music, so I know I won't get copyrighted. And then my uncle, he's in the living room and I think he got company, so if you hear laughing and stuff like that, it's just people. I'm gonna try my best to speak up so that you guys don't really hear that. But then my other brother was born. My dad was married to my stepmom. They're divorced now. I love that smell, so I remember as a little girl coming in my dad's house, smelling that warm vanilla smell. And he had pit bulls that I was so scared of, but at the same time I'm like, oh, you know what I'm saying, because I love dogs, but I used to be so scared of them. And then he had this in his basement, all along the wall was a goldfish tank. You know what I'm saying? The goldfish tank would be in the middle, and then on top and at the bottom is the wall. But the wall was painted and decorated with fishies on them, and it was so nice. An aquarium, a mini aquarium. So I used to love that. And then the way he, his basement was set up, because it was a whole long couch, and they would order pizza and we would watch TV on this big old TV in front of us, surround sound. It sounded like we at the movies, and it just used to feel so great being my father's presence when I was a little girl. And I always used to think that as more as I come over here, that our bond would deeper, you know what I'm saying, I would feel closer to everybody, and especially my father, you know what I'm saying, I have another place to call my home. I used to just be so excited as a kid. I never was going over to my my father's house because we was always going places, because to be honest, we didn't if we went anywhere, we went places where I would be able to go to if I was at home. And I say that because at one point I heard him tell my mom that I only liked coming over because we always go places. You think that of me as a child, that I'm an opportunist, or that I'm thinking like that as a child? That's crazy. But that's how he thought. And that's why I say I'm describing this, because these are things that I would feel excited about when I would come over to his house. I get to be around my father. You know what I'm saying? For a girl, that's her first love. And I used to look at my father. I used to admire my father. I used to look at my face and then look at his face and be like, oh, we got like the same skin tone, because my mama chocolate. You know what I'm saying? Me and my father had the same like skin tone. I got his whole entire face. Like literally people see me and see my mom and be like, oh, that's your twin or that's your sister. But if you see me standing next to this man, my father, oh, you'll be like, this is your twin for sure. Like, for sure. Like, I just be so happy. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, I got a second mom. I got my dad. I'm at his house. I have another place to call home. It was just different there. You know what I'm saying? The people that were walking in and out were different. The things we ate was different. You know what I'm saying? Like, my mom didn't buy certain things, but then my dad bought certain things as far as like food. Like, my mama didn't never care for waffles, but I think at my dad's place, I was able to have waffles. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? It was little things like that as a little girl when I used to go to my father's house. I used to be so excited about it. And then, like, I get to play with my siblings. You know what I'm saying? My siblings was there. And, yeah, like, and to be honest, when I was always there, pretty much my dad was either at work or he was there. Dad was smoking weed. And like eventually I caught his stash. I saw his stash. I was a little girl and I saw the stash that he had. And of course I didn't know what weed was. I didn't know nothing about it. And I don't even think I ever smelt weed on him. But I probably did. But me being a little girl, I'm not thinking nothing of it. I'm like, this is my daddy. Even though he smelled like a snow, it was just different. You know, being over there. And when you get experience to different things, you know what I'm saying, it expands your mind, you know. My dad never took me to the park. My dad never sat me down when I was a little girl and taught me anything. I don't remember because I have a very good memory. I can remember things back from when I was 6 years old. So if my dad took me to the park when I was 6 or 7, I will remember still to this day because I have a very good memory. Like my memory is A1. Even though I smoke, my memory is still good. You know what I'm saying? I remember when I was out in Disney World when I fell in the bushes and caught poison ivy. I remember I was on a bike and I fell in the bushes. I was 6 or 7 years old when this happened to me. You know what I'm saying? We was out in Florida and this happened to me. I remember this. You know what I'm saying? So I have a good memory. That's something I wouldn't forget. Just always just there, and you know what I'm saying? It was you know what I'm saying, people there that was related to my stepmom. And like they would come over and like some of them was bullying, you know what I'm saying? Some of them was very mean to me and bullying me and talking about how my grandma is as black as the garbage bags, the black garbage bags. Some of them was mean to me over there and some of them wasn't. And I even remember like my stepmom's sister, I even remember coming over there one time and I heard her say, why she always gotta come over here? I hate it when she come over here. And I was a little girl and I never understood that. Like, why, how you a teenager hating on a little girl? You know what I'm saying? Why you mad because I'm here? Kid then, and I didn't know. I wasn't sticking up for myself. You know what I'm saying? At that time when I was a little girl, I was so quiet. I was so naive. I was so nice. Me being over there, my safe spot for me was my stepmom's mom. And rest in peace. Rest in peace to you, lady. Because that lady felt like my second grandma too. You know what I'm saying? She made me feel like I was her granddaughter too. She never left me out. You know what I'm saying? She never left me out. She always made me feel included. You know what I'm saying? When she would do my siblings' hair, she would do my hair too. You know what I'm saying? When she was cooking my siblings' food, she was cooking me food too. You know what I'm saying? Because she was like my second grandma. She didn't have to treat me like that. She didn't have to do none of those things for me. She could have did the bare minimum. But that lady literally always made me feel included. And I thought she was so funny. She was so great to talk to. She was just a really cool lady. You know what I'm saying? Like, that lady was the bomb, you know. Stepmom's mom, you know, she was like a grandmom to me. And she was like my safe spot when I got there. You know what I'm saying? I knew that when she was there and when I was there that she was going to look out for me. And like I wasn't just going to be ignored or nothing like that. Because I say that to say, like, most of the time when I was at my father's house, when I was a little girl, my father was not there. You know what I'm saying? Everybody else was, but my father was not there. My stepmom, you know what I'm saying, at that time I didn't know, but you know, she was working in the medical field and she was going to school. She was in school, in college. You know what I'm saying? That lady was working her ass off too. So sometimes my stepmom wouldn't be there either. Or sometimes it'll be where my stepmom there and my dad not there, or my dad there and my stepmom there, or something. And then it'll be rare when they both there. You know what I'm saying? My stepmom, she definitely made me feel safe too when she was there. I always thought she was so pretty when I was a little girl. When I would go over there too, like I'll be like, she's so pretty. She always made me feel included. You know what I'm saying? She always talked to me, and you know, she always just made me feel included. She always made me feel loved. She didn't leave me out. Her family would come over, so it's a bunch of kids, and they're around my age. They would come over to the house. I'm like, I got a second grandma. I'm like, I got 3 grandmas at this point. I got 2 mamas. I'm here with my daddy. I got more siblings. You know, it smell like vanilla in here. You know what I'm saying? We eating different foods. Just taste different. You know, I like that. It wasn't really not much arguing and fighting, and it didn't happen. And like, to be honest, like as a child, I don't even really remember my stepmom and dad arguing. You know what I'm saying? And when they did it in the bedroom, and all you could hear was I still couldn't even like hear, you know what I'm saying? They like hid that from us thing, because I had enough of that at home. You know what I'm saying? Like I had enough fighting and chaos going on at home. So when I'm coming to my father's home, to me it's peace. It's peace. It smells like vanilla. You know what I'm saying? I know I keep saying that, vanilla, but I'm telling y'all, this house used to smell like vanilla. Okay, like warm sugar vanilla. If y'all know about Bath and Body Works, that mom cared for me more than my father did. You know what I'm saying? When I was a kid, when I was over there. And then I'm going to just jump to the preteen ages. I'm going to jump around like 11, 12, 13, 14. Going over to my father's house because it was my birthday. You know what I'm saying? And he never called me on my birthday. When I turned 11, he never called me. And I think it probably was the next day or 2 days after that. And like, you know what I'm saying? We went over to my father's house, me and my mom. And, you know, I knocked on the side door, came in, and he in the kitchen. I think he was washing dishes or something. And I'm just like, hey, you know, he like, hey. And I'm like, you know, so I'm like, you know, my birthday was yesterday. You know, I'm like, no call, you know. I'm 11 years old, you know what I'm saying? I've been working. That was the excuse he gave me. He was working. So at 11 years old, hearing that from your father, you sound very careless. You sound very careless. Because at no given point while you at work, you don't have no breaks. You can't call me for 5 minutes and tell me happy birthday, I love you, have a great birthday at least. Like, wow, you know. So it's just like huge letdown after letdown after letdown. Because even when I was there as a kid, he wasn't never in the same room with me. He'll be in the house somewhere else, and I'll be in the basement or outside. I just always was somewhere else. I never was in the same room with him. You know what I'm saying? We never was spending quality time. It wasn't nothing like that. And then it would be every now and then when he would be in the basement and we'll be all watching movies together and stuff like that. But it just, you know what I'm saying? It wasn't often, you know. I didn't feel like it was genuine even as a kid, you know what I'm saying? The quality time that we spent, you know. I just didn't feel that loved as a child, you know. I felt like when I was a kid, I felt like I thought it would get better. That's what I was thinking, like, damn, you know. And then even as a kid, like, I never had my own room. You know what I'm saying? I never had my own room at my father's place. And, you know, it was their room, my father's and my stepmom room. The next room would be my siblings' room. And then the next room was my stepmom's sister. She always had a room at the places that my father and my stepmom lived. She always had a room. But did Alexis ever have a room? No. But did Alexis ever complain about it? No. Because guess what? I'm a kid. You know what I'm saying? And as an adult, you should be like, damn, let me make space for my daughter. Let me make her a bed in my place so she can feel like this is really her home too. I never got that. You know, I never got that. I honestly felt like a stepchild. I didn't even feel like my own father's child. I bounced back to the 11-year-old. He didn't call me, blah, blah, blah. So I just left out the house, went in the car. My mama came in the house, cursed him out, which I was like, yeah, get him, mama, because he wrong for that. You know what I'm saying? You don't say that to me. Because even if that was the case in that moment, you could still say happy belated birthday, got an excuse. And then I think after that, I think it was like a good 2 years I didn't hear from him. He would never call me often. You know what I'm saying? He would never call me often to check on me. Nothing. You know what I'm saying? It always came down to me calling as a kid. Like, could you imagine having to call your father and you like 9-10 years old? You always gotta call your father? Like, that was weird. I'm staying with my grandfather because I'm in 9th grade now. He still wasn't calling and checking on me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just don't remember the calls at all. You know what I'm saying? Like, just years will go by and I don't hear from my father. Like, just nothing. You know what I'm saying? And I used to think at one point, like, damn, did I do something wrong? But you know what I'm saying? Because those questions go through your head. Like, what's wrong with me? Like, why don't my father want to talk to me? Why don't my father want to check on me? I would see other girls with their father and wishing I had that, or at least close to something like that. Like I said, years will go by. But, it was just one particular time I was at my grandparents' house, my granny and grandpa house. And I think my granny mentioned, like, oh, you talk to your father? And I mentioned to her, like, no, I didn't hear from him. And I had to be an age before I was in high school when this happened. And I was at my granny house. And like I said, I just started crying. When she mentioned it, I just started crying. And I was just like, he don't call me. And I don't know. I haven't heard from him. And she just ended up calling him while I was crying and stuff. And like I just, got myself together and calmed down. And got on the phone with him. And I don't even really remember the conversation. But I know it wasn't nothing much, Still don't explain why you haven't talked to me in years. In 9th grade, I ain't hearing from him. He ain't calling and checking on me. He ain't doing nothing for me. You know what I'm saying? He ain't buying me no clothes. He ain't buying me nothing. Nothing. Like, he's not checking on me. Ain't seeing him. Nothing. Just years. Just seeing my siblings. Nothing. Like, at this point, you know what I'm saying? The twins were here. My other brother was here. Like, haven't seen them. And I'm like, the last time I saw my twin sisters, and they was 7. You know what I'm saying? That was the last time I had. And then like some point in between that too, because like his kitchen had caught on fire, so he was living in like this like apartment home or condo or whatever. He was staying there I think for like a good year or two, because I guess he just didn't get his kitchen fixed. And I guess they just decided to move to New Baltimore. When they moved there, after me turning 11, me not hearing from them, I did go over there to the place that they were staying at before they moved to their bigger house, because that first house caught on fire in the kitchen somehow. I forgot how. They were going over to this apartment condo place or wherever they were staying at. I think it was one good time. And then after that, years went by again. I'm in high school. You know what I'm saying? So they moved to New Baltimore whenever they moved there. And that's like 2 hours or an hour. It's like an hour away from Detroit. Went out there to New Baltimore in them condos. 11th grade year. I had to either be in my 10th or 11th grade year. It probably was the summer of my 10th grade year. So I was finna get ready and going to the 11th when school started again. I ended up getting in contact with him. I think he reached out to me. And now mind you, this is years later. Last time I saw my siblings, my younger siblings, they were 6 or 7. Then I went out there. He reached out to me. But I'm going too far. I'm like skipping steps. Because I kind of want to just talk about like, we ended up talking again after like a year, probably 2 years. He would reach out after a year or 2 years, maybe 3. And like he would take me out to dinner. This was a constant thing he would do. It was so like, I know exactly what you about to do. You finna come pick me up. We finna go out to eat. You finna eat some food. You finna tell me why you ain't been around. You finna give me all kinds of excuses. And then things just pretty much just gonna go back to the way it was, and it never changes. You know what I'm saying? That was something he did. I probably can count on all my hands and all my toes how many times he did that. It started to be really like repeating You know what I'm saying? He would go years without talking to me. Then when he finally reached out, he taking me out to eat. Because my dad loved food. You know, I like food too. So, you know, he would take me out to eat, whatever restaurant, Applebee's, Fridays, West Point, eating some good food. And he would just tell me, like, you know, I love you, and this going on, that going on. Just, it was always an excuse. It never was, Alexis, I went through things as a child that you probably don't understand right now, but I'm gonna help you understand. It kind of messed me up, and I might have mental issues, and that's why I haven't been here for you like I should. Always a repeated pattern. So all of this went on too as well before I went out to the new house. So yeah, so now we fast forwarding again, because I had to backtrack a little bit, because I'm like, in between all of those years, it was gaps in between where he would contact me, take me out to dinner, give me this sob old story excuse as to why he ain't been around. And because he liked to sweep shit under the rug. That's the type of person he is. That's the type of guy he is. He like to do stuff to you. He don't want you to check him, because the moment you check him, he feel like you fighting. He don't like to fight. He don't like to argue. He don't like to whip his kids. He just don't like it. You know what I'm saying? He want to be perfectly fine. He don't want nobody to tell him about himself, and that's just that. You know what I'm saying? He wants you to ignore the issues. He wants you to ignore everything and just sweep it underneath the rug and just smile. Like, and he's a Leo, by the way. But like, with, you know what I'm saying, some Leo fathers, they want you to kiss their ass, when it's like, no buddy, it's the other way around. You know what I'm saying? Like, why would you want your kids to kiss your ass when you ain't been there for them? That makes no sense to me. You know what I'm saying? So yeah. And when I went out to the new house, he took me out to eat. Of course, the same excuses. I forget whatever excuse. I forgot all the excuses he done told me, because pretty much when he would tell me, it's going in the ear and out the other. You know what I'm saying? So it's excuses, whatever. Okay. Went out to the new house. I think I was there for like a good couple of weeks. I was still smelling like warm vanilla, because my stepmom, she loved that scent. Smelled like warm vanilla. It was a bigger house. It had 5 rooms. But guess what? Guess what? Can y'all guess it before me? Guess what? Alexis didn't have a room either. Even with him having 5 rooms, Alexis still did not have a room in my father's place. Isn't that something? Alexis still don't got a bed in a place that her father paid bills at, where her father laid his head at. Alexis still don't got a room. But guess who was in that room though? Can y'all guess it? Can y'all guess it? My stepmom's sister. Yeah, she had a room. She had a room in each and every house they had. And at that point, when I got to that new house, that big house out in New Baltimore, I gave up on that idea of even having a room for me, a space for me. Like, I still felt like a stepchild. And pretty much at that point, when I was out there, I just wanted to get closer to my siblings, because I have not seen my younger siblings since they were 7 years old. Because right now, my younger siblings are 20 and I am 27. Yeah. So it was like, I used to think like, did they forget me? And he was just like, no, I couldn't let them forget you. So when I saw my siblings, they was like, no, we didn't forget you. And I felt very close to them, you know what I'm saying? But I still didn't grow no type of relationship with my father, you know what I'm saying? He was at work. He was barely there. It was really even barely there at the bigger house. He was at work all the time. Saying, I'm getting ready to graduate high school. Out there again, even like, I went out there to that big house multiple times, and I stayed, weeks at a time and stuff like that. And I just was trying to work on getting close with my siblings. I felt like we really did get close. I graduated high school. I went back out there again, because then it was discussions with my father. He sat me down though. You know what I'm saying? When I was a fresh graduate student over the summer, then my father sat me down. Then he had multiple talks with me about, what am I going to do? You know what I'm saying? Am I going to go to school? What am I going to do? Both of my parents was like, really like in my ear about college. And I'm just thinking to myself, I don't want to do college. You know, my mindset after I was done with high school, I wanted to take a year break and I wanted to work for a call center, because call center jobs was like $12 an hour. You know what I'm saying? They give you benefits and all this extra stuff. So I was like, that'd be a really good job for me to do, you know, being a teenager, and just save and get my own car. So then that way I can have my own transportation to go to college or do anything else that I want to do. Just never had transportation to do anything. When I would get transportation, it's like, I don't want to name no names, but at that time people will be upset. And I wasn't taking no bus because I ain't never had to take no bus. My father sat me down and tried to figure out what I was going to do as far as school and stuff. And like, you know, I mentioned to him that, you know, I'll probably go to beauty school, but that's something I kind of want to do a little bit later. I mentioned that to him, you know what I'm saying? So when I mentioned that to him, he just was like, oh, well, maybe you should do that. Maybe you should do the beauty school, you know what I'm saying? Do that, get something going. And he was like, he pretty much was like, if you do college or if you do beauty school, as long as you're doing something in school, he was like, once you graduate, he was like, I'll buy you a car. I'll get you a car. That's what he said to me, y'all. He told me he was going to give me a car. So guess what? Alexis enrolled into L'Esprit Academy. It's out in Livonia. That's the one I went to because they got one in Ann Arbor and somewhere else. But I was like, Livonia, that's the closest to me. I can get to it. Sign me up. I was signed up. When I tell you, I was there for that first month when September came, when I enrolled and stuff. He called on me. I think he called me once after I got enrolled and was going to my classes at beauty school, because I was doing hair, skin, and nails. When I think about it now, I should have just did nails. Anyways, he called me once, and then after that, guess what, y'all? Guess what? He disappeared. That whole school year when I was in cosmetology school, I did not hear from my father. My father did not call on me. He did not check up on my grades. He did not make sure that I was good. Nothing. I got nothing. And when I was there, probably like half of the year, I started to think to myself like, dang, I really should have just did nails. You know what I'm saying? Because with me trying to do hair, skin, and nails, it was going to take longer for me to graduate. So it took like a year process, a little bit over a year for all of those things. If you do nails, it would have took you like 6 months to graduate. You know, and if you just do skin, I think it took like 6 months too. But if you do the hair, skin, and nails, it's going to take like a little bit over a year to graduate. Like, I'm in this program. I was messing up on my grades because I have not heard from my father. And then it was a struggle. I was dealing with a lot of chaos at home. My transportation to like even get to the school was like very, very difficult at first. But then my uncle, who is my mom's brother, I realized that he works a mile away from my school. So I was like, oh, let me call my uncle and see if he can come pick me up and I could ride with him, because my school is only a mile away. So I was able to call my uncle and I was able to get a ride with my uncle, which was such a blessing. I appreciate you so much, uncle, for that. But then like after a while, you know what I'm saying, my uncle wasn't my ride no more, so I still had to figure it out. It was just a lot. When, you know what I'm saying, I would never even been doing this if it weren't for my father in my ear telling me that he would get me a car as long as I got enrolled in something and graduate. You know what I'm saying? If he would have never told me that, I would have never enrolled in school, and I would have just still did exactly what I set my mind on to do. I feel like he derailed me. I feel like he tricked me. You know, like he was a full-on trickster in that moment. You know what I'm saying? I feel bamboozled. I felt very bamboozled. I felt tricked. I felt betrayed. I just felt all type of shit. I just remember feeling all type of shit. And I was so pissed. You know what I'm saying? Like, I wanted to give up. I wanted to drop out. And it actually took me a little bit longer than over a year. It took me like a year and probably like, because I had to catch up because I was falling so far behind. I was dealing with a lot of chaos at home. Like, it was so traumatic for me at home. And then I'm like, I wouldn't even be doing this if my father wasn't in my ear telling me that he would get me a car as long as I enrolled in something and graduated. And then I'm like, he's not even here to even offer me transportation, and I don't even want to call him because he ain't called me all this time. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, it was just bad. It was just all so bad, and I was just all so pissed. But then I ended up catching up, graduating, and I was done. You know what I'm saying? I was done. I don't even have the certificate of completion from L'Esprit Academy. Every time I think of that time in my life, it's just like such a gray area. It's just such an area where I feel like I just was not myself. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was stressed every day. I was just going through a lot at that time. It was just such a gray area for me. I went through a lot. You know what I'm saying? And when I left, I felt like I left and I never looked back, because it was just so much. You know what I'm saying? I feel like that me going to school there was so attached to my father, and how he just pushes me and then just leaves me hanging like that. It was a huge disappointment, man, when that, you know, happened. I feel like I'm gonna be triggered and just remembering just how stressful it was being there, and how I didn't want to be there, and how I didn't want to finish anything. I had to take out a student loan. You know what I'm saying? Them student loans that I had to add to my debt. Student loans that I'm still paying off now to this day. And I wouldn't have to pay that off if my father didn't trick me. You know, that I had to, at some point in my life, I had to say, forget that, and just deal with this all on my own, and just not blame him no more. But at that time, that's how I felt. A long time, I'm like, this man done made me make some debt in my life, student loans, because he tricked me. I had my mind set on what I wanted to do, and I feel like that's what he, you know what I'm saying, he should have really been like, what do you want to do? Not telling me what he think I should do. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't know. Just never sat me down, never had no like real life conversations, never told me about how he grew up. He never told me anything. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just feel like I just been around this man, and I don't know this man. He feel like a stranger to me, honestly. He do. He feels like a stranger to me. You don't even really know the date of his birthday, but I know it's in August because he's a Leo. But I don't know his date. I don't know his favorite color. You would think not knowing your father's favorite color doesn't matter, but it does. And small things like that, I don't know about my father. I'm going to just talk about, you know what I'm saying, just the last situation where, you know, before the pandemic, I was staying with him because I had some issues going on at home, and I got kicked out, and so I made it to my uncle's house. And I was just like, I can't stay here because, you know what I'm saying, I had no fan. It was so hot that summer, and I was just like, oh, I can't take it. So I thought to call my father. I thought to give him another try, to see if he wouldn't disappoint me, to see if he would actually step up and mean what he say and actually help me. Like, and in my mind, you know what I'm saying, I wasn't even thinking about the car no more. But it's still like, man, you still owe me a car. You know what I'm saying? Like, what about that car? You know what I'm saying? I graduated, so what about that car? You know, you know what I'm saying? I just said, I'm not gonna worry about none of that stuff. I'm not gonna be mad at him no more. I'm gonna just let it go, and I'm gonna just go out here, and I'm gonna just work on myself. Hopefully he helped me. Hopefully he support me. Hopefully he don't let me down. Hopefully we can grow a bond. Hopefully we can start over. That's what I was thinking. He sounded very excited that I called him. He picked me up. I packed up some of my stuff and picked me up. And then, like, every once in a while, we would come back to the city and grab more of my things from my uncle's house and stuff like that. So then eventually, I ended up having all of my belongings, including my own bed, in his house. But by this time, when I moved into his house in 2019, before the pandemic hit, him and my stepmom is going through a divorce, and they're divorced. My stepmom moved out, I think she said a year or two ago, and she been in her own place doing her. She was like, I'm gone, I left your dad, I'm done. You know what I'm saying? Because she pretty much told me, and I wasn't around, she used to question him, like, why isn't Alexis around? Why don't you call her? My stepmom told me that she used to get into whole fights with my father about him not calling me, him not having me around. And she said we went on trips and he didn't even invite you. And she was mad about it. And she like, we would fight about it. You know, but she was like, that's not one of the reasons that we got a divorce, but she like, it's part of it. You know what I'm saying? My stepmom told me for a very long time, she has always questioned him and asked him and told him, where is Alexis? Why isn't she here? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's terrible for your wife to be questioning you why you not being a father to your daughter. You know what I'm saying? Because even she knew, like, I didn't do anything wrong. I'm just a kid. You know? So it's like, what's the issue? What's the issue, dude? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's crazy. And I was shocked when she told me that. Stepmom, she was just like, yeah, I divorced him. You know what I'm saying? He's emotionally manipulative. He don't want nobody to tell him about himself when he wrong, when he doing this, when he doing that. And I'm like, it's the same stuff with me. You know what I'm saying? He don't never want me to tell him about himself. Like, he the type of person, he's stabbing you, right? And I had gave this analogy to my mom. I was like, he the type of person that'll be stabbing you, look you right in your eye while he's stabbing you, and you tell him, you're stabbing me, and he like, no I'm not, and he gonna keep stabbing you, because he just don't want nobody to tell him nothing about himself. He just want to sweep everything under the rug and keep going. But we all know that's not good. That's toxic. Because in real life, if you have a rug and you keep sweeping all the dirt stuff underneath that rug, and the minute that rug gonna be up here and it's gonna be a pile of trash holding it up, and it's not gonna be considered a rug no more. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on now. My stepmom, she was just telling me a lot of things about my father, pretty much just everything, and I just did not know these things about him. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not gonna get too deep into it because that's not something, I'm not trying to exploit him in that kind of way. But you know what I'm saying? I'm just saying that my stepmom told me a lot. She gave me a book, a thick book full of how my father was, how he is, and she just like, I don't understand it. You know what I'm saying? Like, she like, I can't do it no more, you know. And I don't blame her for walking away. I don't. You know what I'm saying? And in real life, she told me she should have walked away years ago. Stick it out and hope that he would change, but he didn't. He even told me, like, he went to physical therapy, but he stopped going because he was saying something about, like, he don't like opening up to strangers and how is they gonna help you. You know, he got one of them simple minds, like some of these black people in the community feeling like a therapist ain't gonna help you. You know what I'm saying? He got one of them small minds. You know what I'm saying? Small minds. Thinking that a psychiatrist is not gonna help you. You telling all your problems to this person, they not gonna help you, but they will. You know what I'm saying? He didn't give it a chance. You know what I'm saying? And I just feel like he went to that psychiatrist. I bet that he was telling the psychiatrist things, and the psychiatrist was probably getting in his ass and telling him how wrong he was. And I feel like he took offense to that. So he like, I'm not coming. You know what I'm saying? Because he don't never like nobody to tell him nothing about himself, y'all. He don't. You really can't tell him nothing about himself. Even if you come at him in a sweet manner, like, yeah, I just want to talk to you about how, you know what I'm saying, you betrayed me yesterday. He'll be like, nope. And he'll shut down, walk away, because he just don't want it. He ain't the type of person that's going to go back and forth with you and fight with you. He is not going to do it. That's why I never understood why him and my mom, because my mom is like literally the total opposite of my dad. Like, my dad don't whip his kids. He don't be yelling to fight. He's not trying to do none of that stuff. He's jokey, laugh, whatever. And then my mom, she'll fight you. You know what I'm saying? She'll argue with you. She'll fight with you. You know what I'm saying? She don't care. And that's why I'm like, how did y'all was together? Come to find out, my parents was friends with benefits. And I just feel like with you, you know what I'm saying, with my parents was being friends with benefits, and with me finding that out, it made a lot more sense as to why my father treated me the way he did. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna get more into that at the end, because I want to save that part for the end. I want to go ahead and talk about, like I said, when I was just living with him in 2019 before the pandemic hit. I was staying with him for like a good 8 months. I had my own room finally, but you know what I'm saying, everybody is gone out the house. My stepmom is gone. My siblings don't even live there no more, but their some of their belongings was there. My dad no more, you know what I'm saying. Like my stepmom, she took her kids, you know what I'm saying, and they still was underage, you know. My younger siblings was 16, and then my other brother was 18. Well, he was 17. They was 16 and he was 17. They was still underage. So my stepmom like, no, y'all living with me, you know what I'm saying. So she was here in the city, but I think she was in like Southfield or something like that. Me being out there, I was just out there trying to figure stuff out. But job positions is out here. I even was gonna apply in home living care and stuff like that out in New Baltimore, you know what I'm saying. Like I was really looking on Indeed a lot, but then like, you know what I'm saying, I kind of was trying to figure out the driving situation because I still had no car, you know. And like my dad, you know, he worked for AT&T, so he was driving a truck all day, and like his car would be at home all the time. And when I was staying with him, he didn't go nowhere, you know what I'm saying. If he wasn't at work, he wasn't going nowhere. He was in his room in the bed watching TV, and I'll be downstairs either in the room or in the living room watching TV. And it was just like that all the time. Like I'll be downstairs, he'd be upstairs. We never was in the same room watching movies together. And then when that did happen, I'm gonna get to that part. So yeah, you know, we still didn't have any personal conversations, nothing like that. He never told me about none of his mental issues. He never told me that he had diabetes. My mama had to tell me he had diabetes. He did lose a lot of weight. Like he lost a lot of weight. He had to cut his hair off because his hairline was already receding. So, you know what I'm saying? I'm looking at my dad now and I'm like, dang, you look kind of different, but you still look the same and you act the same. You know what I'm saying? Like you skinny and bald headed with this whole beard thing coming down, but you still act the same. You know what I'm saying? So, and you got diabetes, don't even want to tell me you got diabetes. And at this point, I'm a 25-year-old grown woman. You can't tell me you got diabetes as my father? Like, that's crazy. I just feel like he tried to hide a lot of stuff from me and just didn't want to be real with me, which I don't know why. But you should want to be real with your kids, especially when they reach a certain age. You want to be real with your kids. So he really wasn't like eating a lot of foods no more. He cut out a lot of beef. He said he didn't eat beef no more. He didn't eat pork. I don't even remember if he barely ate chicken. So he wasn't eating a lot of foods no more, you know what I'm saying, because he had diabetes. You know what I'm saying? He did sit me down and tell me that he's selling the house. So then when he told me that, mom was coming over with guys to help paint the house and take this out and put this in. All in the midst of when she would come every now and then with guys to help clean up the house and this and that and paint this and take that and move this and move that. It needed to be clean. So when I realized that, I went to my father and told him like, hey, you know what I'm saying, this is a help me help you situation. I was like, how about you pay me $80 or something like that if I can clean your house up? You know what I'm saying? Help you clean your house, because I was like, obviously you ain't gonna get around to doing it because you always at work, and then when you here you ain't doing no type of cleaning. So I was like, I'll help you, you know. He agreed to it, you know what I'm saying. He agreed to it. And my thing is you have a big ass house, sir. 3 levels. You got the basement, you got the lower level, and then you got the top level. You got bathrooms on the top level and the mid level. So y'all would have seen how that house looked. Like, it was just like stuff everywhere, just so much stuff, so much trash, you know what I'm saying. Like, and then when I was cleaning out the bathrooms, it's like spoons and pans and bowls in there, like, and I'm like, I'm wondering how long this stuff been in here, you know what I'm saying. Like, it was crazy. But like, literally I had to do like some really good cleaning at his house, you know what I'm saying, like detailed cleaning. And I just feel like, you know what I'm saying, a normal person, if they would have came in here, a person that didn't know him and came in here and cleaned, they would have been charging him an arm and a leg every time they cleaned the kitchen, the living room, the bathrooms, the bedrooms. they would have been charging my father an arm and a leg, okay? And I was just being there and telling him $80, you know what I'm saying, when I clean this area and this area and this area, you know what I'm saying. I was like, you can keep paying me $80 as I clean your house. The $80 wasn't just a one-time fee. I did not say that to him, you know what I'm saying. I'm telling him, like, you could just pay me $80, you know what I'm saying, as I clean your house. I had finished, I think, the kitchen first. I think the kitchen was somewhere I wanted to get to first, because I spent a lot of time in that kitchen cooking a lot, and you know what I'm saying, everybody else spent a lot of time in that kitchen. So I was just like, I want to clean the kitchen first, you know what I'm saying. The washroom, did it. Cleaned like the closet, did it. And I think he paid me $80. Then I went upstairs, cleaned that bathroom out. I cleaned his room out, cleaned his bathroom out, and I'm looking for the other $80. And this man had the nerve to tell me, you know, I'm trying to move right now, and oh, I ain't got the money for that. And I said, well, I done already cleaned, so I need to get paid. That was a part of our deal, you know. And I felt very bamboozled. I felt tricked. It was like, it brought me back to when he told me he was gonna get me a car if I go to school and graduate and stuff like that. It brought me back to that. And I wasn't even trying to get back to that, because when I went out there, I told myself I was not going to hold nothing against him. He's my father. I'm going to give him a chance. You know what I'm saying? But when that happened and he telling me he don't have no money and you know what I'm saying? I'm just like, what? I'm getting tongue tied and stuff. And he told me that. I got extremely upset. I don't think I cussed, but I was very close to calling him all types of names, because in that moment he deserved it. And pretty much I was so pissed off. Like, my stepmom was even there that day, my siblings was there that day, and she had a couple of guys there. And like, I let it be known that I'm pissed at him. I let it be known, you know what I'm saying. I was stumping down the stairs, mumbling like, this motherfucker, and I wanted it to be known that I'm mad at him. I'm mad. And I don't care. I want everybody else in this house to know I'm mad at him. So, you know what I'm saying? They all like, dang, what's wrong? And I'm like, yeah, he cheating me. He cheating me. You know what I'm saying? Like, you owe me money and I'm cleaning this house up for you. I don't got to do this. This ain't my house. And you know what type of predicament I'm in. So I'm trying to make some type of money. You know what I'm saying? And I'm your daughter. You don't do me like that. You do other people like that. You don't do me like that. Just so pissed. And at that point I was like, I'm ready to go. I was like, I don't even want to be here. Closer to the time of him, he sold the house was sold. And when it got time to that point, when it got closer to like the people getting ready to come, so he really got to pack up, you know what I'm saying. So mind you, I'm packing up too, but really my stuff was already still packed. It was just all in a closet and it was packed, you know what I'm saying, because I kept everything packed. I would just go into the boxes or bags and get stuff out, but then put it back in the bag or the box. I kept it packed. When I kid y'all, when I was out there, because I was going through issues with my mother at that time, I eventually started talking to her again, and then I came to the city. She would come and get me, and I'm coming out there to the city, being out there with her, chilling with my family and stuff like that. It was kind of warm outside. And pretty much, he called me. I was sleeping in bed in the city at my mama's house. He called me. So we got to be out of here by 4. I think he said 4 or 6 o'clock, something like that. I think 6 o'clock. He was like, we got to be out of here before 6 o'clock. The people moving in here. I got to get him the key and this and that. You mean to tell me you called me the day of that you have to leave, the last and final day, to tell me that I need to come back out there, which is an hour away from the city, to get my things? Because the way he was expressing it was like he was finna go and just leave my shit. And we all know when you moving into a place, like if they see anything that they don't want, they gonna kick it to the curb. And I'm like, that's everything I have, you know what I'm saying. It may not be much to anybody else, but these are all my belongings. If I lose that, I lose everything. And all I'm gonna have on me is this bag that I got on me. I had to tell my mama, it had to be around like 11 o'clock in the morning. I had to tell my mama, like, man, we got to go back. I heard New Baltimore, because he telling me he got to get the keys up and this and that. And my mama was pissed because she was like, damn, that's wrong. You know what I'm saying? So she took me back out there. You know what I'm saying? It was me and my brother and his own brother from his father. rode out there, you know what I'm saying? The house was pretty much, it was empty. It was just my stuff was in the closet and it was packed up. And I needed help to, you know what I'm saying, go. I didn't know where he was going. You know what I'm saying? At this point, I'm just like, okay, all my stuff packed up. My stepmom is here. She got a U-Haul. She packing up certain things. He had people come and help move too. They was there. And I'm just like, okay, my stuff is packed, but where am I going? I'm thinking to myself, like, wherever my father is going is where I'm going. You know, that's what I was thinking. You know what I'm saying? But pretty much, my father was just like, well, he was like, my stuff in the car and it's all packed. It's packed. That's what he's saying to me. And I'm like, okay. I'm like, well, what about my things? Like, where am I going to go? Like, you know I'm homeless at this point. You know that. He didn't give a fuck. Because all his stuff was in his car. And he was packed and ready to go, y'all. He was saying it without saying it. And I'm just like, wow. Like, my father once again is leaving me high and dry. High and dry. Like, just leaving me. Don't give a fuck. Once again, you not being a father, you have not proven that you could be a father at all to me. You proven that you don't really care about me. You only care about yourself still. So I was just like, wow, you know. And he drove off and left. He left. I think he mentioned to me like, oh, we'll see if you can get your stuff and, you know, U-Haul, and see if she could take you to your uncle's house. I think that's what he mentioned to me before he went out them doors and got in his car and pulled off. You know, I had to go to my stepmom and be like, can I put my stuff in your U-Haul, and then can you drop me off at my uncle's house? You know, she was just like, where your uncle stay? And she was like, okay. She was like, I still need to get some stuff in here, but she was like, it should be enough room. And of course it was enough room. And of course I had to pick up my own heavy load and load it in the car, of course. And then he bought me a TV too. He bought me a huge flat screen TV. I think my 22nd birthday or something like that, or 24th birthday or something like that. And when I got it, I was only able to watch TV on that TV like a couple of times, and then like the screen just blew out, you know. And like he never called me for me to even be like, hey dad, this TV blew out, can we go get it fixed? Nothing like that. So like the TV was just, you know, there or whatever. And I brought it with me when I went out there to be with him, because I thought he would get it fixed while I'm out here. Still didn't get it fixed. So really, when they was moving, at some point my TV went to the curb, and I was just like, no, like I really wanted to keep that TV, because then I was just like, I'm gonna get it fixed on my own, you know. But the TV was out on the curb and it rained and my TV got damaged for sure. So I didn't even really get to like really use that TV that he got me, you know what I'm saying? That's why I'm just like, it just goes to show that like our relationship just never carries. It just always just crashes and burns, you know what I'm saying? Like with him, and with him giving me that TV, and for that TV to only been used and watched a couple times, and for the screen to just completely go out, I was like, that's exactly how our relationship is. Around and then you're not, you're gone. You're around and then you're gone. You're around and then you're gone. Like literally, you're a ghost. I'm like, he's a ghost to me, you know. So I was mad about that, about my TV, because I was like, I don't know who moved my TV to the curb and it got rained on. I was pissed about that. My stepmom ended up dropping me off, you know what I'm saying? My brothers helped me bring my stuff in, which I really appreciate that, because it was nighttime in my uncle's house. And I'm like, I'm right back where I started when I first got kicked out, back at my uncle's house. And I'm like, I had to quit my job as a driver. You know, like when I first got here to my uncle's house, I had a driving job at Ford, which was in Dearborn, which was not too far from where I live. So I would have been able to keep my job and work my job, but I had already took a leave of absence at my job because of the situation I went through at home. and then I ended up losing my car, and then I ended up getting kicked out shortly after. So when all of that happened, I was on leave of absence, and then when I got to my uncle's house, I was still on leave of absence, and my job at the time was very understandable because I was a very good employee, so they understood my situation, and like I never took off any days, you know what I'm saying. I always came to work, so you know what I'm saying. I think they was just really understanding and giving me time, you know. And like I got here, was still on leave of absence, and if I really would have been thinking, if it just wasn't so hot like how it was, and if I had a fan, I probably would have sticked it out just staying here, and then I just would have figured out some kind of way to make it to work. You know what I'm saying? I would have been able to save and get me a car, and move out, but things didn't work out that way, you know. And then when I ended up moving out there with my father, I ended up calling them like, hey, I moved out here to New Baltimore, can I get a transfer? And they was willing to give me a transfer, you know. So then I got on the phone with people in Pontiac was not far from where my father stayed. It was probably like 20-30 minutes at the most. And that was like the nearest location for the test driving job for Ford. So I ended up setting up everything for me to transfer there. They was like, you're going to take a drug test again. And I'm like, fine. You know what I'm saying? I was clean at the time. So I was, you know what I'm saying? No problem. And you know what I'm saying? I was ready. And they still was going to give me time to like get there and all of that stuff. So then when I ended up coming to my father and telling him that, you know what I'm saying? He had a very huge problem about that because he was just like, oh, well, the gas in my car and this and that. And I was just like, well, you know what I'm saying? Thinking to myself, like, I'll put gas in it. Like, that's not a problem. But he just didn't want me driving it, like, period. He didn't want me driving it. He didn't even want to figure out to get me an Uber until I got my first check. He didn't want to figure out nothing. And literally because of that, I had to let my job go. You know what I'm saying? When I was out there. And I was like, I'm so sorry, because I literally went through the whole process of getting a transfer. And y'all was helping me for me to end up telling y'all I still can't work with y'all. Like, I have to quit. Like, that was just so crushing, you know. That was another thing too that pissed me off with him. You know what I'm saying? I ended up having to lose my job because he didn't even want to let me drive his car until I made my first check. You know what I'm saying? Then I would have just been catching the Uber or something. You know what I'm saying? I would have figured something else. I just needed a whip till I got my first check. And he never drove that car. That car was on so low of a mileage. Like, that car was so low on mileage, because he never drove it. And then when he did drive and when he was home, it was to the grocery store down the street, and he'd come back home. My dad didn't go nowhere. That was another thing too that pissed me off when I was out there, because I was like, I had to quit my job. I just feel like going towards my father is just always, I'm gonna lose something. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not gonna gain anything from being around that man. I'm never gonna gain anything from learning from that man. Just from anything. When I go around him, I'm gonna lose stuff. That's how I look at it. Lose my job. I'm gonna lose something just going around that man. You know what I'm saying? And I don't need to go around that man. You know what I'm saying? That's just how I feel. You know what I'm saying? I don't hate him. You know what I'm saying? I wish him all but the best. With a girl when he was out there, and it was so crazy because she looked like so similar to my mom. Like, my mom, you know what I'm saying? She's dark skinned and she's tall and slim, got long legs and stuff, and she talk a certain way. And I was like, this other lady looks so similar to my mom. She was dark skinned and tall, long legs, and she talked so similar to my mom. I was like, this lady looks so similar to my mom. And then he was dealing with that girl. He was still dealing with another girl. This was a girl he said that he used to be with back in high school, but she moved away, so they had to break up. And that other girl looked how my stepmom looked. She looked similar to my stepmom. My stepmom is light skinned, wear the lighter color hair. It was just different. So I was like, okay, I see what you do. You like dark skinned women, but you only like to sleep with them and play with their minds. And then the light skinned ones, you marry them. That's what you do. I noticed that, because when he was dealing with that dark skinned girl, he was dealing with the light skinned girl too. But he was actually like physically seeing the dark skinned girl. He was going over to her house. She was cooking him meals, and that was something that I didn't even know that he was doing, because sometimes I would be at the house and he'll be like, I'm finna go out, I'll be back later. So he was going to that lady house eating meals and shit, you know what I'm saying? Like, that was crazy. And then one day she broke into the house, y'all. I was in my room and I hear somebody like, Alexis, and then I hear boom, boom, boom. She climbed through the garage door, because like it was a lot of shit in that garage, and there was like a lot of stuff blocking that door, and that door wouldn't close. So she broke through that door, got in the house, and when she walked past me, she was like, hey. She was like, oh, hey, Alexis. Walked right past me, went up the stairs, went in my father's room. Now, mind you, all the lights off is pretty much in the house. The only light on that's in the house is in the hallway, and it's shining in my room, so I didn't need to have on my light. My dad sleep. I knew he was asleep because he had smoked, and after he smoked, he normally go to sleep. He smokes CBD now, because I think before he used to smoke THC, but now he smokes CBD. I think he used to smoke THC before, but then he switched to CBD because he had back problems and all type of stuff. Had back surgery. All up to his room. I didn't hear nothing for a while. So then I go up the stairs. I'm standing right outside of the room. I'm looking at her sit right there on the edge of his bed. He laying down still asleep. He finally wakes up. He rubbing his eye and wakes up. Looks at the girl and then looks at me standing outside of the door. And he like, what? He like, what's going on? The girl get up. Oh, you playing me? I done fixed you a whole meal and you can't answer my call. Now mind you, she yelling all of this and leaving out, and that's why I'm like, man, girl, you remind me a lot of my mama, because my mama would do this. Like, she wouldn't break in nobody's house, but the way she cussed him out I was like, wow. She like, yeah, you playing me and da 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 da. He like, you broke into my house? Yeah, she broke into your house, sir. Yes. So she went outside. Me and him standing there. He like, she broke in. I said, yes, Dad, she broke in. I heard her calling my name. Next thing you know, I hear her tumbling, and I was like, she must have broken through the garage door. She came in, walked past me, said hey, and went right in the room with you. He was like, she could have slit my throat while I was asleep. I'm like, yep, yep. He went outside. He was talking to her. It's dark, and you know, when you living in New Baltimore and them uppity areas, you know, all them white people and stuff, you don't want to be yelling, because they gonna be looking out that window like, what's going on, and they gonna be call the cops. So they was in the front of the house. He was talking to her. I couldn't hear everything that they was saying, but I like lift up my window. I tried to hear, and pretty much I hear her like, you told me you love me. You told me you was going to marry me. You told me this. You told me that. Like, he told her a lot of things. He promised her a lot of things. And as we all know, if he can't keep them promises he got with his daughter, and he disappoints his daughter and tricks his daughter, what you think he going to do to another female? He going to lie and tell you lies and play with you and ain't going to give two fucks. That's because that's how he is. And I'm like, oh, I'm seeing firsthand how you are as a man and how you treat women. I'm seeing this, you know. The girl was so hurt. I hear her crying, and then she go from crying to literally she kept doing that. And I just hear him like, calm down, don't be doing all of this right now. And I hear him just trying to like calm her down, because he don't do none of that. You know what I'm saying? He don't do none of that. And I think I heard him tell her like, just go, you know. So then she ended up leaving, and I was just like, wow. Being here with my uncle and stuff. My father has not came by. He knows where I'm at, because he has literally picked me up and dropped me off here and brought me back here multiple times to pick up my things. So he know where I'm at. He know where I'm living. And even before I lived here, he knew where I was living. He always knew where I was living. He never drove up to check on me. Never. So it's like me being here, the pandemic here, he never calling and checking on me. Never. And then like I never knew where he was living at. You know what I'm saying? After he left, he never said where he was living. I think he told me like he was crashing on somebody's couch, but I'm just like, whatever, like you ain't crashing on nobody's couch, like come on. Basically, I think that new girl that he was dealing with, the light skinned one, the one that was in high school that he had to break it off with, I believe that he went to go stay with her, and I found out she got a daughter. And then when my stepmom was coming to get me, because I had went to my sister game because she played basketball, like, you know, my stepmom would tell me things, you know. And then, like, the last time I seen my stepmom, she came over because she brought me my nail polish, because my nail polish ended up being on that truck. And I was like, I need my nail polish. And she ended up bringing it to me. But then she ended up telling me, you know, your father is engaged. And I was like, huh? She was like, yep, he's engaged. And I'm like, to that one girl? And she like, yep. And she was like, he ain't tell your siblings either. He ain't tell your sister or your brother or nothing. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's how he moving. And I'm just like, wow. So, and I'm like, I only met the girl once. Shook her hand, and that was it. I probably talked to her for like 2 seconds. Hello, and that was it. So, I don't know the lady. And then it was so crazy because one day, like, I was just going through Facebook because, like, I had deactivated my Facebook, then restarted it and deactivated it again. And now I'm on it and I'm saying, normally I was looking through, like, you know, my find a friends list and stuff like that. And, like, you know, when you know somebody and when you see them, like, I knew it was my father. Like, I saw his head, I saw everything, and I was just like, that's him. I clicked on it. This man married. He got married to the lady, and none of his kids was there to see him get married. You know, my stepmom told me that. She was like, your brothers and sisters wasn't even there. So I'm just like, wow. Like, he just went off and married this lady and didn't say nothing to his kids about it. This lady not wondering why his kids is not around. Like, that girl is questionable. You know, my stepmom, like, yeah, you know what I'm saying? They all just living in the house, living it up. He got a whole new family now. You know what I'm saying? So then now I'm just like, wow. Like, now my dad treating my other siblings like how he treated me when I wasn't living in a home. You know what I'm saying? Like, now he treated my siblings like how he treated me, where he just pretty much wasn't really checking on them, not doing nothing for them. And I was like, dang, that's bold. You know what I'm saying? Because I was like, my siblings live with you all their lives. All they know is you. And for you to be acting like this towards them, that's really something new for them. At least me, I could take it because I've been dealing with it. I'm the big sister, you know what I'm saying? And I'm grown, and I'm coming to a point where I'm just like, F him. I'm worried about my siblings. But them, it's new to them. They parents getting a divorce, separating their homes, got to get away from their longtime friends that they made out there in New Baltimore. You know, they was sad about that, you know. That really messes up kids when their parents get divorced after being together for so freaking long. And they're having to separate from the house, sell the house. You know what I'm saying? They had memories in that house. You know what I'm saying? Now it's just completely gone because it's sold. Like, it's just not nice, you know what I'm saying? And like, even my sister, she cried to me when I was there, like, just telling me all type of stuff. Like, it's just sad, you know what I'm saying? It was sad, and I felt bad for them. I was like, they don't deserve this, you know what I'm saying? 2 birthdays ago, calling me only because I told my sister, yes, he can call me, because my sister was like, oh, he calling my phone and he keep asking for your number, and I don't want to give it to him because you told me not to give it to him, but he keep blowing up my phone. So I felt bad because I'm like, damn, I don't want him blowing up her phone. So I'm like, yeah, give him my number. He called me, and you know what I'm saying, wish me happy birthday and stuff. But that was 2 birthdays ago, and I didn't hear from him this previous birthday. Number that he got, you know, it's like a government phone, so I don't really be on that phone. Sometimes that phone be dead, and it'll be dead for a couple of days, then I'll cut it on to check it or whatever the case may be. But I don't really be on that phone anyways. He don't call it, you know what I'm saying? He don't call it, he don't text it, nothing. And yeah, like, it just is what it is, you know what I'm saying? Like, I've just come to accept that I'm never going to have a relationship with my father, because my real father has passed away almost 10 years ago, if not 10 years ago. And that is my grandfather. That's my father. My granddad has been that father figure that he has not. And I thank God that I got a chance to experience that love from a man. You know what I'm saying? Even my mom used to tell me that when me and my brother was kids, that we would call our granddad daddy, because we used to hear my mama say daddy a lot. So, you know, being a kid, you would just copy what your mama say. So we would call our granddad daddy for a long time when we was kids, you know. But of course, eventually when I got older, and I'm like, oh, this is my grandfather, so I'm calling him grandfather. But that was my daddy. And this is my finish. Because I found out that my mother and my father were only friends with benefits, and then my mother got pregnant with me, the same time that I was being born, my father was getting married to my stepmother, who now has divorced him. That went on as well too. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's not even on my birth certificate, because he was not there when I was born. He was getting married to my stepmom at the time. So that dynamic between my mother and my father, I think he didn't want to even take my mom serious, because he was already dealing with my stepmom. I think he was probably dealing with both of them at the same time, to be honest. You know what I'm saying? And he just picked my stepmom to marry, and he just picked my mom to be his side piece. He happened to get pregnant with me, and you know what I'm saying? It was nothing he could do about it, because she had me. So I didn't really like my mom. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like because she was so argumentative and stuff like that, he didn't really want to deal with her. You know what I'm saying? So because he didn't want to deal with her, he didn't want to deal with me. And like, I think he felt like, you know, because of her attitude, that I had the same attitude. He thought that when he would call me, that I would just cuss him out and go off, which that was never going to be the case, because that's not my first thing to do. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm a sweetheart. That's my first move, is to be a sweetheart. You know what I'm saying? And he would know that if he knew me, but he don't know me. But he just assumed that I have an attitude like my mom, and he think that when he called me, I think he think that now when he trying to call me, if he trying to call me, he think I would cuss him out. Which in real life, I would not cuss him out, even if he called me today. I honestly would just hang up the phone, because I don't want to hear anything. You know what I'm saying? What you talking over the phone for? You need to pull up. We need to be in counseling. You know what I'm saying? That's the only way I'm gonna hear him out, is if he talking about going to counseling together, so we can fix this and move on like how you supposed to do it, not sweeping stuff under the rug. You know what I'm saying? So that's only the only way I would hear him out, is if he's talking about going to therapy, a family therapist, and fixing us. You know, that's the only way I would do it. That's the only way I would talk to him, is if he mentioned that. Because if he don't mention that, then there's nothing else I need to talk about. Girl that's going through this, even any guys that's going through this, that don't have a relationship with your father, just try your best to find another father figure in your life. If not, pray to God, because he is your father. He is all of our fathers. Try your best to get you a mentor, a guy mentor. Try your best if you got a grandfather, if you got an uncle, you got a brother, your cousin, that, you know what I'm saying, you really just need to like sit them down. If you feel like you can do that with that person, with that male, that uncle, that male cousin, the grandpa, even a male friend, if you feel like he's a safe person for you to be like, hey, can we talk to him, and let them know, if you're able to let them know, like, I don't have my father in my life, I feel like I need a strong male figure in my life to give me advice, to help me, you know, change a tire, you know what I'm saying, or at least show me how to change a tire when I can't depend on any other man. If you're able to sit them down and talk to them, do that. Definitely do that. And they might even be open to being that for you when you need that. Know that you are never the problem. You know, just know that your father missed out on a beautiful person, wasn't in your life. Bump them. You know what I'm saying? Because they missed out. And the way I look at it as, you know what I'm saying, you missed out on this beautiful woman right here. And then when I go and I get married and I have my kids, you're not going to get to meet your grandkids, because you already not in my life. So you missing out. He's going to miss out. Think of it that way. You know, I'm doing very well. You know, I love myself so much. I don't deal with men that are similar to him, that are like him. You know, and it's so crazy, because before I like sat down and realized what type of person, what type of characteristics my father was, I'm like, this man is unemotionally available. He's inconsistent. It's other things, but I'm like, the guys I've been dating have been unemotionally available, has been very inconsistent, and all of these other things that my father would do. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm dating my father. So for a long time, from when I was 16 to like 24, I was dating guys like my father. And I did not realize that. And then like I just took a break from dating, and then I kind of was still dating, still getting the wrong type of guys, and I was just like, no, like. And then I got into therapy. I started healing my generational curses. I started doing shadow work. I started going in. I started really meditating. I started eating clean. I started doing research. I started really getting into YouTube and just figuring out my life out. And YouTube has helped me so much, giving me a lot of great tips, a lot of great research to do. People on YouTube be talking about situations that I've been through. And I'm like, wow, I'm not tripping. This is a traumatic experience. This is karmic. This is a generational curse. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can't make this stuff up. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's crazy. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like my father is a karmic father to me. And if you don't know what a karmic father is, just Google it. Just Google it. Google will tell you. You know what I'm saying? Or even look it up on YouTube, and YouTube will tell you what a karmic father is, or a karmic parent, period. You know what I'm saying? You can look up what a karmic parent means, and it'll tell you. And I feel like my father is my karmic father. It was meant for me to go through every hurt that I went through, that he caused me, so that I could realize that I should not date men like him, that I should stay far away from men like him, because if I still dealt with men like him, child, I would be somewhere. I don't even know where I'll be, and I don't even want to think about that, because honey, take heed to that. You know what I'm saying? When you got a father that's treating you like shit, try and figure out, you know what I'm saying, and look at how he really moves. Look at how he really treat women, and look at how he really treats you, and look at it, because you'll realize that, oh my gosh, he was gaslighting me. My father been gaslighting me. My father been a narcissistic to me. My father been emotionally manipulative to me. My father been tricking me. He been a trickster. To learn that, and I had to find it out, and I had to sit down and realize that, and be like, okay, but wow, I've been dating the same type of men just like him. You know, so when I realized that, and I loved myself, and I realized, like, and I healed my inner child as well. That little girl in me was still crying about her daddy, and I had to meet her, and I had to tell her that it is okay. I got you, and God got you. God is your father. You know, I had to find a safe spot in myself, and I had to nurture myself. You know, I had to give all that love back to myself, around myself with people who actually love me and protect me. You know what I'm saying? You got to do that too. Definitely get into therapy, because that will help. You know what I'm saying? Telling someone about this, because they will be there to reassure you that you were not the problem, that your dad is going to miss out, and he's going to be on his bed regretting that he should have treated you right. It just is what it is. You know what I mean? I just think it's sick to be a father and to never check on your kids, to never be wanting to know how your kid is doing, and if you know where they live, pull up. You know what I'm saying? Pull up. There's no excuse in the world as to why you can't be a father. You know what I'm saying? Unless that baby mama is just being the baby mama from hell. But when your kid reach a certain age, what's your excuse then? You should not still be having excuses. Period. You know? That's something else you don't want. A man that always give you excuses. No. So, I am happy. I am healing. I am loving myself. I'm being soft and feminine and not masculine no more, you know. I had to find that. I had to, you know what I'm saying, get a balance on that, because I found myself being a little bit more masculine in situations that I did not realize that. And that's because I didn't have my father in my life. You know what I'm saying? Like, he just wasn't here, you know. And the only father I did have passed away almost 10 years ago. I hope that I wasn't rambling too much. I hope that you guys, you know, took something away from this. I hope that can help you in any kind of way. And if you want to, you can leave down in the comments if you grew up without your father. You know what I'm saying? You can just put a bunch of broken hearts, and that way I'll know you grew up without a father in your life. Just know that you are loved, because you are God's child, and you are special. Do not ever think that you are the problem. You are just fine. You know what I'm saying? You were a kid, and it is not your fault that your father is not doing what he needs to do as a father, and reassuring you that you are not the problem. And like, even that will help a child, when you can at least reassure them and let them know, like, I know daddy not around, but just know it ain't because of you. Just know that. Just know it ain't because of you. It seems like it's something so small, but that can mean something to a child, you know. And like, women, please watch who you have kids with. You know what I'm saying? Like, really ask these guys, like, you know what I'm saying, how they grew up and how their father was towards them, because some of these guys grew up with their fathers being very abusive to them and not loving them and not showing them no type of empathy at all, and been just so hard on them. And imagine them growing up and thinking like, I never want to be that for my child, but then still is battling the issues because they have a hurt kid in themselves and they never healed from that. So they don't really know what to do. They don't really know how to be a father, but they just know they don't want to be like their father, so they just end up just staying away altogether, and that's not going to help the situation. You know what I'm saying? So just, we got to really heal our inner childs. You know what I'm saying? When you going through traumatic stuff from a child and growing up as an adult and just been experiencing nothing but traumatic experience and chaos, you have to heal that inner child, because that inner child is going to be with you when you are an adult and when you're out here in life and you're in relationships with people, and you're going to be hurting people and not even know that. You're going to be out here hurting people, you know, that you really want to love, but you're hurting them because you're still hurt and you're still carrying it and you don't know how to handle it. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just, ladies, watch who you have a man by. Please make sure that your man will be in your kid's life, even if y'all break up. Even if, tell that man, hey, even if you don't like me one day, even when you get to a point, even if that's the case, you get to a point where you just hate my guts, still be there for your child. You know what I'm saying? Like, still be there for your child. Like, you ain't even got to speak to me. You ain't even got to look at me. Be there for your child. You know what I'm saying, fathers? Step up. Step up. Don't be absent. Don't treat that child that's not living in your home, you know what I'm saying, like they a stepchild, and then the kids that's living with you, you treat them like they so perfect. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. Because then you will cause a rift too between the siblings. You know what I'm saying? Because still to this day, I don't have a relationship with none of my siblings now. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like they just adapted the whole pattern that he do. When, you know, he fucked up, he just stay away. You know what I'm saying? And like, that's a whole nother topic. I'm gonna do a video talking about my relationship with my siblings and why it's non-existing as well. So stay tuned. And if you were able to watch all of this, thank you, and I appreciate you so much, and I love you. And so really share this, like, comment, and subscribe. I love you guys. You are my tribe, and I hope that each of my videos can help somebody some kind of way, because that is my purpose. That is what I'm here for. I'm taking everything that I've been through, and I'm just, you know what I'm saying, turning them into lessons and turning them into something, some way that I can help you guys, you know. So thank you. Bye.